Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, today we back to our lecture Social Psychology and Languages. We are from group 10 and we are going to explain about language and social thoughts. Our group members there are Alzana Rohma, Salsabilah Mauli Widya Pratama, Umilia Lutfia, and Lutfiana Izati. I'm Umilia Lutfia as the first speaker will explain about language and social thought and the relationship both. Language and social thoughts. Bahasa dan social thoughts, pemikiran sosial. Bahasa adalah suatu sistem yang digunakan oleh manusia untuk berinteraksi satu sama lain. The study of how language influences thought has a long history in a variety of fields. There are two bodies of thought forming around this debate. One body of thought stems from linguistics and is known as the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Language and social thoughts dinyatakan oleh Sapir dan Whorf yang menyebutkan bahwa struktur bahasa atau tata bahasa suatu bahasa menggambarkan bagaimana penuturnya memandang dunianya dan bagaimana budaya mempunyai hubungan dengan bahasa. Nah, ini disebut dengan hipotesis Sapir-Whorf. In the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, there is a strong and a weak version of the hypothesis, which argue for more or less influence of language on thought. The strong version, linguistic determinism, argue that without language there is and can be no thought, while the weak version, linguistic relativity, supports the idea that there are some influences from language on thought. Dalam hipotesis Sapir-Whorf ada dua versi, yaitu versi strong dan versi weak, atau versi yang kuat dan versi yang lemah. Versi yang kuat yaitu linguistic determinism, yang menyatakan bahwa struktur bahasa mempengaruhi cara individu mempersepsi dan menalar dunia perseptual. Dengan kata lain, struktur kognisi manusia ditentukan oleh kategori dan struktur yang sudah ada dalam bahasa. Sedangkan untuk weak version, versi lemahnya yaitu linguistic relativity, yang menyatakan bahwa perbedaan struktur bahasa secara umum paralel dengan perbedaan kognitif non-bahasa. Perbedaan bahasa menyebabkan perbedaan pikiran orang yang menggunakan bahasa tersebut. The main use of language is to transfer thoughts from one mind to another mind. Thoughts come first, while language is an expression. There are certain limitations among language, and humans cannot express all that they think. That is enough for me as the first speaker explain about language and social thoughts and the relationship both. The next point will be explained by the second presenter. Thank you.
Okay, next is homocombinants, the most recent formulation of generative grammar. The minimalist program views language as a computational system linking meanings, conceptual or international system, with sound, articulatory, or perceptual system, a biological perspective known as language. Language growth results from universal grammar. Homocombinants adalah suatu rumusan terbaru dari tata bahasa generatif yang bersifat minimalis dan dilihat sebagai bahasa sistem komputasi yang menghubungkan makna sistem konseptual atau intensional dengan suara atau sistem artikulasi perspektual. Perspektif biologis yang dikenal sebagai bahasa yang dihasilkan dari tata bahasa universal yang secara genetik menentukan fakultas bahasa yang berisi prinsip dan parameter tertentu yang menyusun tata bahasa individu seperti aturan awal ataupun akhir.
There are objects in the world we say. Commonly held in both linguistic and philosophical domains is the associated view that language, in its infinite and mysterious wisdom, relates our thought to these immense external entities. The language or thought relation delineated above leads to a radically different conclusion. Although there has been much research over the last half-century into object recognition, object structure remains largely mystery. A thing, river, house remains as obscure a notion as a word, existing not in the physical world, like substance, but rather in our cognitive powers, as the Earl of Shaftesbury note 2001. London, for instance, can be demolished and rebuilt elsewhere while remaining the same city. Since virtually everything about it is comprised of abstraction. Proceeding with this interpretation, it follows that logically proper names and other cryption designators constitute important aspects of thought. Took not the physical world contrary to Putnam and Birch. This internalist conclusion dissolves the supposed metaphysical paradox behind the shape of the sus puzzle sides. As David Snow put it, there is at most and word, and these dualities are merely the result of the carving action of FL into first CKS. No language morphologically marks existence in the way it may do for tense and intimacy. And so King Lord Smith is as acceptable as William H. Smith, while the apparent existential paradox in Sherlock Holmes in English and does not exist becomes simply another result of synthetic computation. If syntax does not distinguish between fact and fiction, we should not expect phonology to do so either. Adopting this minimalist methodology to the study of cognition more widely result in the following principle, call it computationally precedence or CP, with its evocation of Galileo and Weinberg naturalism, Occam's razor, and other similar approach to natural elegance typical of the physical sense. So far as possible, seek explanations of uniquely human concept in terms of synthetic.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Alzana Rohma and my student number is 2519055. And I want to tell you about architecture of the minimal mind. The simplest or optimal explanation for the explored capacity of Homo combinans to freely and recursively combine concepts, interpret and plan is that a language of thought evolved in a single individual by a neurological rewiring induced by a slight mutation to yield the operation termed merge by the minimalist program. And merge could also have yielded the genesis of mathematics, which possibly piggybacked of language. Though the architecture of has not been explored in any considerable detail, it may have arisen following the lead of traditional formalists in the biological science like Owen, S.T. Hilaire, Goldsmith, Severstov, Quid, and Agassiz, predominantly by way of internal constraints. with psychosemical controls and the laws of minimal search, found in merge becoming a positive constraint on ethical thinking and a source of human morality by Hinsen, 2006. Not simply the limitation singer, Dennett, Tompkins, and other new Darwinists hold it to be. This would in turn adhere to the above principle of CP, with physical law being afforded the same causal and foundational significance as scientific computations in the biolinguistic study of thought systems. Thus, computational originality carries substantial consequences for mind design. I think that's all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.